Hello everyone, here's a brief summary of the movie 13 Going on 30. Enjoy watching. In 1987, Jenna Rink is disappointed with how her photo for the school yearbook turned out. She's also unhappy with her social status at school. Jenna was hoping that the popular group of girls, the 6 Chicks, would come to her birthday party along with the boy she likes. However, they all have a school paper to write that evening. Jenna offers to do all the work for them. Her best friend, young photographer Matt, is puzzled by her desire to be friends with these mean girls, insisting that she's much better than them. Jenna gets ready for her party, but she isn't happy with how she looks. Being a teenager is so hard. She wishes she were already 30. Maybe then she'd look like the models in magazines. Once again, Jenna stuffs tissues in her bra and is ready to welcome her guests. So far, only Matt has arrived, bringing her a special gift. A dream dollhouse he made with his own hands. He even sprinkled it with magic dust that's supposed to make all her wishes come true. Suddenly, the doorbell rings and Jenna hides Matt's gift in the closet to make space for dancing. The 6 Chicks arrive in full force, walking into the house with smug looks on their faces. Most importantly, the boys have arrived too, including Chris Grandy, the boy Jenna has a crush on. In front of everyone, she rudely dismisses her best friend, causing the group to laugh. Lucy, the leader of the 6 Chicks, suggests playing a game called 7 Minutes in Heaven. She blindfolds Jenna and leads her into the closet, explaining that whoever comes in next can do whatever they want with her, and it's sure to be Chris Grandy. Lucy discovered where the essay was hidden and convinced the others to leave, taking the snacks with them. Matt had stepped out for a moment and didn't understand what was happening. Sneaky Lucy lied to him, saying that Jenna was waiting for him in the closet. Matt believed her and was about to kiss his friend when Jenna blurted out, "What are you doing here? Where's Chris?" Jenna thought Matt had done something that made everyone want to leave. Upset, she kept repeating that she wished she were 30 years old. At that moment, magic dust from the dollhouse sprinkled over her. The next day, Jenna woke up in the body of a 30-year-old woman, though she didn't realize it right away and called for her mom and dad. When she saw her reflection, she couldn't keep her balance. She was especially shocked by her now fully developed chest. 17 years had passed, and Jenna had no memory of her life. After confirming that it was indeed her apartment, she called her parents, but they were on a cruise and couldn't help her. Suddenly, a man from the bathroom called her Sweet Buns. Armed with an umbrella, Jenna threw it at the stranger and ran out onto the street. Outside, some woman was already waiting for her and told Jenna to get in the car. Jenna hesitated because her parents had always taught her not to get into cars with strangers. It turned out the woman was Lucy, now her best friend. A high-pitched melody kept sounding from somewhere. Lucy pulled an unusual gadget from her bag. It was a phone. The man from the bathroom spoke through it, once again calling Jenna Sweet Buns. Jenna discovered that she worked as an editor for a glossy magazine called Poise and had an important meeting coming up. Jenna acted completely ridiculous, but everyone assumed she was just hungover from a wild night. Her boss, Richard, was unhappy because their competitor, Sparkle, had been outperforming them for the past 10 months. It seemed there was a mole in their editorial team, leaking all their ideas to the rival magazine. Richard consults with Jenna on how to improve their magazine, but she excuses herself, claiming she needs the bathroom, and sneaks into her office. There, she finds a photo of the naked man from earlier and learns she's friends with Madonna. A terrified secretary, scared Jenna might fire her like she did her predecessor yesterday, hesitantly fulfills her request for information about Matt, her old school friend. Ignoring work, Jenna sets off to find the one person she believes can help her figure everything out. When she finds Matt, he looks completely different and doesn't seem to recognize her. After realizing who she is, Matt finally opens the door. Jenna explains what happened to her, how she went to bed as a 13-year-old and woke up as a 30-year-old. Matt suspects she might be on something heavy and says he can't help her because he doesn't know anything about her anymore. He reveals they haven't been friends since high school. Jenna feels terrible, and Matt helps her get back home. Jenna soon learns that somehow she became the leader of the 6 Chicks group, and her best friend Lucy is the same Lucy from school. Jenna was even crowned prom queen and dated Chris Grandy. In a way, all her dreams came true. That evening, a limousine arrives to take her to a glamorous banquet. Jenna is now living a luxurious life. She invites Matt to the banquet, but he seems unusually sad. Jenna's new life includes expensive makeup she has no idea how to use, a wardrobe filled with designer bags, outfits, shoes, and even fancy lingerie. Dressing in her own style, she chooses an 80s-inspired look and meets a 13-year-old girl named Becky in the elevator. Becky is surprised since this snobby woman never used to greet her before. Wearing a stunning dress, Jenna arrives at the banquet in a limousine. The event is filled with strangers, and Jenna struggles to behave appropriately in such high society. However, she can drink as many cocktails as she likes. The editor of Sparkle, a rival magazine, shows up and mocks her competitors. Richard, Jenna's boss, is bewildered as the banquet, meant to prove their magazine is still thriving, starts looking like a disaster. The tipsy 13-year-old decides to save the day, requests an iconic Michael Jackson hit from the 80s to be played. She went to the dance floor and started dancing, just like she used to do in front of the mirror as a child. At that moment, Matt approached. Jenna pulled him onto the dance floor, as he also knew how to move. The energy of the dance got the crowd moving, and soon everyone was dancing. The banquet was saved, but at one point, Matt became uncomfortable and left the party. Jenna continued enjoying her adult life, shopping at the mall and buying clothes in bulk. When she and Lucy were sipping cocktails at the bar, Lucy told her that some guy was checking her out. Jenna thought he seemed nice, but instead of approaching the man at the bar, she went to the boy sitting at the table and started flirting with him. Lucy took her outside to prevent her from getting arrested. There, she saw the naked man again, and only then realized he was her boyfriend. Suddenly, Matt approached and introduced her to his fiancée, Wendy. He was about to move to another city to live with her. Everyone except Jenna knew that her boyfriend was Alex Carlson, a famous hockey player who was positive but a bit dim-witted. Jenna was afraid to be alone with him because he might start making advances, and that's exactly what happened. But all of it just made Jenna laugh. Then Alex decided to spice things up by performing a striptease for her. Jenna panicked, as she definitely didn't want to see him naked. The next morning, Jenna complained to Becky about how all the boys were idiots. Jenna went to work at the editorial office, where her colleagues informed her of the grim news regarding their readership. They were losing badly to Sparkle, who were blatantly stealing their ideas. They were in trouble if they didn't start gaining more readers. Her boss tasked Jenna and Lucy with making changes to the magazine to boost circulation. The secretary handed Jenna the messages left on her voicemail, and it turned out that many people hated her. There was even a man trying to get into her office, the husband of one of the employees. The man barged in and immediately kissed Jenna on the lips. It turned out he was cheating on his wife with her. Jenna was outraged and punched the man in the groin. Jenna then learned that Lucy had been scheming behind her back. Lucy was planning to prepare a project in secret from her friend. It seemed that Lucy's life wasn't so great after all, and she wasn't exactly the nicest person either. Jenna called up her old friend to go for a walk and started talking about his fiancée. He was certain she was his soulmate, but for some reason, Matt refused to admit why they stopped talking after high school. Eventually, he confessed that everything changed after her 13th birthday. When Jenna came out of the closet, she threw the dream house Matt had built for her over 3 weeks. After that, Jenna stopped being friends with him, and they never spoke again. Since then, she hadn't made any real friends. It seemed she really had nothing good in her life. Jenna regretted the years that had passed her by. The next morning, the girl asked her mom what she would like to change in her life, but the woman had no such desire. Yes, she made many mistakes, but if she hadn't made them, she wouldn't have learned how to fix them. This inspired Jenna to take further action. Her project for the magazine's redesign would be based on a yearbook, with the photos taken by Matt. She met with him and told him she was hiring him for a week to work as a photographer for Poise. His photos were nothing like the magazine's style, but that was exactly what she needed. They worked hard on the project, spending a lot of time together, and gradually grew closer. The week passed quickly, and Matt was in no hurry to go home. After jumping off the swing, the couple fell onto the sand, and Matt kissed her. Jenna shared this romantic moment with Becky and her 13-year-old friends. Matt hoped it was Jenna approaching him from behind, but it was his fiancée, who had returned to town a week earlier. During lunch, he was completely distracted, thinking only of someone else. Richard urgently needed to review the projects. Lucy's version turned out to be provocative and off-putting, a total failure. However, Jenna had prepared her project at the very last minute. Her idea was to replace fashion models with ordinary people and focus on happy moments from life, as if flipping through an old photo album. Everyone loved the presentation. The project would be presented to the management, and Richard was curious about the talented photographer behind the shots. He wanted to hire him for the company. Jenna went to see Matt to tell him the good news, but he had just come to her office. Lucy was shamelessly rummaging through her things. She lied to Matt, saying Jenna hadn't used his photos and hired a famous photographer instead. Lucy suggested he sign papers to transfer the rights to his photos, as perhaps someone else might use them. Jenna got ready for her meeting with Matt, but it was his fiancée who opened the door. Matt went to get his tuxedo. They were getting married tomorrow. Jenna prepared for her presentation to the management, but then Richard entered and told her the presentation was canceled. It was all over. Lucy had handed the materials to Sparkle, and they made her the editor-in-chief. Matt's photos were everywhere. He had signed the necessary papers the day before. It turned out Lucy had found letters from Sparkle among Jenna's things. Jenna had been the mole leaking ideas to the competitor. She was supposed to get the editor-in-chief position there, but now it would be Lucy's. However, Jenna could still fix something. She got into a taxi, driven by her high school crush, Chris Granger, who was completely different from the popular guy she had once known. He still lived with his parents and remembered their first kiss in detail. Jenna rushed to Matt's house and snuck into his room. She tried to convince him that she was no longer the monster she once was, and if he realized that, she would be the one in the place of his fiancée. Matt admitted that he loved her, but time couldn't be turned back. Each of them had gone their own way in life, and he chose Wendy. Matt opened the closet and pulled out the wish house he had kept all this time. Jenna asked him to give it to her again, and confessing her love to him, said goodbye. The upset girl sat on the porch with the house, and as the wind blew, magical dust swirled around her. At that moment, when she made her wish, Jenna found herself in the body of a 13-year-old girl, just as Matt was opening the closet and knocking it over. She kissed her friend on the lips, knocked over a glass of lemonade onto Lucy, and ran outside. And so, 17 years later, Jenna was getting married to Matt. Together, they moved into their real dream house. Thank you for watching until the end. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more stories like this, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss any new uploads.